It's all good, dude. I used to win race too.
Must be nice. Nice to meet you. Brian, we'll get to it.
I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and asking on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something.
Alright, Chief. Side boys. Attention. Side step. March. Left or right. Face.
Sound. 2 bells. Chief Petty Officer, United States Navy, arriving. Sound. 2 bells. Master Chief Petty Officer, United States Navy, arriving. Sound. 4 bells. First Medical Battalion, arriving.
March.
Color guard, parade the colors. Color guard, retire the colors.
Order. Forward. Mark time.
Thank you, Chief Williams and Chief Long, for that wonderful rendition of the national anthem.
For the 24 years of honorable and faithful service given by our brother and friend, Chief Steve Little. This is truly a day of celebration. We thank you for his loyalty, experience, and wisdom shared with his sailors, leadership, and fellow chiefs. We thank you for his family, Heather and Josie, who have been his support system throughout the years. I pray your blessings upon them and his entire family. Thank you for this ceremony and bless all who are participating today. May Steve and his family feel your love in this place. In your loving name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Senior Chief. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Defense of freedom. Shipmates past and present are in attendance today. Highlights of his career will be reviewed with awards and commendations cited, and the senior officer present will bid him a fond farewell. Each Navy Day begins with the ceremony of hoisting colors at 8 a.m. and ends with lowering them at dusk. Chief Little has lived under its folds day and night throughout his career. The salutes rendered in its honor, both at home and abroad, its appearance at sea and in foreign ports, the careful and ceremonious manner by which it is handled, all deepen its historical prominence. It provides a visible national symbol of the country he has served with honor and will represent a lasting reminder of the precious freedom he has ably defended. It is my privilege to introduce our presiding officer, Captain Jonathan P. Wilcox, Medical Service Corps, United States Navy.
Thanks, Chief. Can everybody hear me in the back? I'm going to go ahead and speak with that on microphone if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
First of all, the national anthem, very well done. Ladies, very well. I didn't know you could do that. We're going to have jobs for you in the future. So outstanding. All right, good morning, everybody. Family, friends, little family, sailors, Marines, and 1st Medical Battalion, welcome to the retirement ceremony for Chief Steve Little. I'd like to say a special welcome to Steve's lovely wife, Heather, and his daughter, Josie. Anybody who knows Steve understands that he's devoted to the Navy and to his family. And his success, as it is with all of us, is in large part due to the love and support he's received from his beautiful girls, as well as to his extended family. All of us know we couldn't do what we do without our loved ones behind us. And on behalf of the Navy, please allow me to say thanks for what you do and for your years of love and support. It's also great to welcome his brother, Keith, right? And sorry Joe couldn't be here with us today. We're expecting. His Uncle Craig, thank you for coming, sir. As well as Heather's mother, Ingrid, and Aunt Kat. Thank you, ladies, for being here with us as well. I know many of you traveled a long distance to be here with us today. And you honor us for having been here. You honor Steve and us with your presence. It's a real honor for me to be here and to be asked to officiate on this very special day. It's not often that we're required to pipe a shipmate ashore for the final time. This event, the Navy retirement ceremony, is something we endeavor to do right. It's filled with tradition and heritage, and it's emblematic of who we are and what we do. The honors, the color guard, the bosun's pipe all speak in many ways to what it means to serve and to serve in our Navy. It's an exciting experience, though it's somewhat sad, to get all dressed up to honor one of our own for one last time. We can celebrate and honor today, though, what can only be viewed as a life well lived and an admirable career. Let me give you some highlights. A native of Box Elder, South Dakota, Steve enlisted in the Navy in May of 1993. That's only about a year after I came in. And for those of you who weren't born yet, that's a long time ago. I'll give you some benchmarks. That was the year Bill Clinton was inaugurated as president. The year that Michael Jordan scored his 20,000th career point. The year that Colin Powell retired from the Army. The year that the Rodney King beating trial began in LA, which had many ramifications for our country. The year that the World Wide Web was officially born in a science lab in what we call Silicon Valley. It was the year Ruth Bader Ginsburg was nominated to be an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. And the year that Walker, Texas Ranger premiered on CBS. Friends, that's a long time ago. Steve followed the normal path. He attended boot camp in NRTC in Great Lakes, and then followed by Basic Hospital Corps A School. In March of '94, he went to FMSS, where he earned the 8404 NEC for FMF Corpsman. and immediately followed by an assignment to the School of Infantry at the Branch Clinic at Camp Geiger in North Carolina. That's our mild stomping grounds as well. From there, he joined the ship's company on the USS George Washington, where he served as a general duty corpsman. And he followed on to MCRD at Parris Island, where he was the LPO for the Crucible Aid Station. This is a significant part in his life because while he was there, he served part-time as a reserve police officer for the city of Port Royal. And that's where he went to work full-time on his discharge from active service in April of 2001. Now, Steve's a big, tough guy, a man's man, who likes guns and manly things. He's cut from the same bolt of cloth as John Wayne. So being a police officer isn't that unusual for him. Although I think John Wayne probably had a pit bull or a German Shepherd, whereas Steve has a Shih Tzu. It's okay though, because I understand in an effort to make him more manly, he's outfitted it with a tactical vest and taught it to bite ankles. Following the events of September 11th, 2001, he once again answered his country's call. He donned the cloth of our country, and he re-enlisted. He was sent for his hardship tour to MCB, Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, as the LPO for the battalion and station there. From there, he served in a variety of challenging and important billets where he increased in scope and responsibility, including curriculum testing manager for the Radiology Surgical Technologist School, on board the Boxers, the LPO for FST-5, Fleet Surgical Team 5, and to NMCSD, Navy Medical Center of San Diego, where he served as a pediatrics inpatient LPO. From there, he was hand-selected for an IA assignment to Kandahar, Afghanistan, where he served as the Task Force Mid-South S3 Ops Chief from January 12th to July 12th. And it's a small world because I was also in Kandahar during that time. Our paths crossed, whether we knew it or not. And then the high point in any career, he joined an exclusive group when he was selected to the rank of Chief Petty Officer in 2013, in his 19th year of service. And as Master Chief, and all of my chiefs often remind me, it's harder to make chief than it is to make 06. It's a very select group. He was assigned to the Leading Chief Petty Officer for Naval Station North Island, Naval Amphib Base Coronado Dental Clinics until June of 2014 when he came to us. And I met him when I took command of 1st Medical Battalion in July of 2016. And it's been a privilege to see him doing great things as the Senior Enlisted Leader for Alpha Surgical Company, 1st Medical Battalion, 1st Marine Logistics Group. That's quite a career, and it's something, quite frankly, to be proud of. Chief, you may not know, but you've touched a lot of lives. And your legacy will live on long after you depart from us. You've been a mentor, a friend, and you epitomize what being a shipmate is all about. I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to serve with you. You've been an honorable man who, for the past 24 years, has been dedicated to the service of your country. On behalf of my girls, the men and women of 1st Medical Battalion, we wish you and Heather God's blessings. We wish you fair winds and following seasons and all the finest that life has to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for coming. Enjoy the ceremony.
Thank you, Captain Wilcox. At this time, I would like to present our guest speaker, Master Chief Carol Maris.
Hello? I'm not like Captain Wilcox. I can't project my voice. Good morning, Captain Wilcox. Heather, Josie, Ingrid, Kat, Craig, Karen, family, and friends. When Steve asked me to be his guest speaker, it went like this. You know you're going to be my guest speaker, right? So in translation, my first choice could not make it, so you're it. To make matters worse, I have to follow that wonderful speech by Captain Wilcox. But all jokes aside, Steve, thank you for giving me the honor of saying a few words at your retirement ceremony. By now you have all heard Steve's bio and listened to the kind words of Captain Wilcox. And you may have realized that Steve's career has been pretty amazing. He has done some wonderful things in support of the Navy and our country. We will never know how many lives he has touched during his time in the Navy. In his 24 years of moving from duty station to duty station, I am convinced that he left each command and every sailor he encountered better than they were when he arrived. Please bear with me while I try to explain why I believe Steve is a great chief, mentor, and friend. In order to do this, I have to speak about Steve as a leader. When I first reported to the battalion, I knew that I had inherited a strong chiefness. whose personalities complemented each other. Steve was a confident, compassionate chief. In my first month on board, Steve and I had several conversations that started like this. Sis, I want to be the first to tell you that one of my sailors did, and you fill in the blank. Those conversations would end with me walking down to the CO to brief him and then going to legal. They occurred so frequently, Steve was known as Black Cloud Little within the chief's nest. But no matter how often those events would occur, Steve never gave up on his sailors. And he refused to allow them to give up on themselves. He was firm in upholding the standards, but his compassion and belief in his sailors never wavered. His ability to reach the junior sailors and Marines are second nature and always impactful. And I believe it's because they know that his care and concern for them are truly genuine. I'm not sure if he developed his compassion and sense of patriotism from being an Air Force brat, but I know we have all benefited from it. I received a call from Senior Chief Vic Izararas, who had these words to describe Steve. Steve always made his presence known. He was loud and a straight shooter, but has a very kind heart. He always took time for his sailors. Vic also shared with me a story of when Steve was a Bravo Surgical Company senior enlisted leader for San Francisco Fleet Week. Steve rode the ship to San Francisco, and Vic met the team there. By the time the USS Somerset arrived in San Francisco, the ship's command master chief knew Steve by name, and the Marine colonel and master gunnery sergeant looked to Steve to get stuff done on the ship. So you can add the mayor of the USS Somerset to the list of names for Steve. But Captain Wilcox, before I go any further, I have to confess that there was an egregious act that occurred at Medical Battalion on or around December 2016, sir. During that period, the FRO had received bikes to give to deserving children for Christmas. I was told by competent authority that those bikes had an age and a weight limit. I have from a reliable source that two elderly senior chiefs by the name of Pear and Izararas rode those bikes up and down the bottom floor of the headquarters building, violating the age and most definitely the weight requirement. Now, I've always assumed that there had to be someone else involved in this heinous crime, but I could never prove it. But I was told that Steve Little was indeed the culprit that helped those two geriatric senior chiefs on those bikes. So should I add the title Accomplice Number 3 to Steve Black Cloud Little? Training facilities deployed with the Marine and have taken assignment on both the East and the West Coast. Steve is a man of integrity and believes in the core values of the Navy and took his responsibility as the chief very seriously. His anchors are not just for decoration, but a symbol of all that he could do for his sailors. In all of our conversation, I was impressed by how serious and sacred he held the title chief. If there was ever an issue at the command, after working hours or on the weekend, Steve would be the first to volunteer to go check on our sailors and Marines. Steve is the only chief that I know of that cut his honeymoon period short because he was convinced his name was on the chief list. Hadn't even been selected yet, but he wanted to get back because he didn't want to miss any part of the season. Now, I'm not sure if I would have been that dedicated. In fact, I know that I would not have done that. His feelings were correct, and his name was on the 2013 Chiefs list. 2013 was a year of highs and lows for Steve. His stepfather and mentor, John, died in February. He married the love of his life, Heather, and in September, his grandmother pinned him the chief. Steve, you are the chief that others should want to emulate. I'm sure that your niece, who is currently serving in Guam and looks up to you, will be the next Chief Little. So please, add exceptional leader to your list of words to describe Steve. As much as Steve loves his sailors and the Navy, he loves his family even more. There has never been a time that we've talked that he has not brought up Heather and Josie. Heather, Josie, Steve loves you both. And Josie, Steve is so proud of all of your many accomplishments. Steve, I hope you know that Nick, John, and Jim are proud of the man that you are. On behalf of all the sailors and Marines whose lives you have touched, I want to say thank you to your family for lending you to us for 24 years. And I would like to leave you with the words from an old sailor, the late Cortland R. Johnson. And it reads, "When I think of a shipmate, I think of that sailor who works side by side with you every day. It's that sailor who shares the rough times as well as the good times. It's that sailor who goes to general quarters and battle station with you when tragedy strikes. And that same sailor that you will entrust with your life. True shipmates are those sailors with whom you make lifetime friendships that can never be compared to anything. There is no other job comparable to the U.S. sailor. We have put our lives in harm's way for what we believe in. We have sacrificed time away from our families and loved ones when the rest of the world was working 9 to 5. That individual word, shipmate, means so much to me. So next time you hear a sailor call someone shipmates, note it is a compliment. He is saying we are friends. Shipmate, you will be missed by the sailors and Marines whose lives you have touched, and definitely by your brothers and sisters within the mess. Thank you.
Thank you, Master Chief Mears. Chief Little, will you please join Captain Wilcox at the stage? Attention to awards. Department of the Navy. This is certified that the Secretary of the Navy has awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal, Gold Star, and Luther Award to Chief Hospital Corpsman, Fleet Marine Force, Stephen L. Little, United States Navy, for meritorious service and superior performance of his duties while serving as Senior Enlisted Leader, 1st Medical Battalion, 1st Marine Enlisted Group, 1 Marine Expeditionary Force, from June 2014 to December 2017. As Senior Enlisted Leader, Chief Petty Officer Little successfully coordinated 4 field training exercises that focus on subordinate development and training. As S3 Operations Chief, he ensured a battalion of 364 sailors and Marines supported the full spectrum of IMF force operations. He was instrumental in the coordination and execution of 14 training exercises, delivering health services support for more than 4,800 personnel that increased Marine mission rehearsal opportunities, interoperability, partnerships, and enhanced operational readiness. Additionally, he created and implemented field medical training personnel qualification standards for 1st Medical Battalion that standardized training across the unit and improved mission readiness. Chief Petty Officer Little's enthusiasm, professionalism, and unwavering devotion to duty reflected credit upon him and were in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service. Given this 12th day of October 2017 for the Secretary of the Navy, J.P. Wilcox, Captain, Medical Service Corps, United States Navy, Commanding. It's heavy, that's why it's taking so long.
Oh, wow.
So Chief Little was pinned on Friday the 13th. Okay, I was also pinned on that same day, so Friday the 13th holds a special symbolism to him, and it took some finding, but we also added a Jason Mask coin to that chest. So Friday the 13th, Jason Mask, hockey sticks, machetes, good stuff. chest was also handcrafted by Chief Anchetta, who's sitting back there. So if anybody's looking for a retirement sea chest for your own retirement, he's the guy to see. There are several symbols by which the Chief Petty Officers are recognized. The most widely recognized is the anchors we wear. There's another treasured symbol of the senior salt, one that harkens to the day of wooden ships and iron men. In this sea chest, one of a sailor's most important possessions, the crews of the sailing ships typically own little property and usually only what would fit into a chest just like that one. Not only did it store his personal belongings, but it also served as his table, his chair, his bake, and his bureau. Each chest also gave the sailor an opportunity for personal expression through carvings, paintings, and decorations. And everything that adorns the chest and that lies within, combined with the gold-fouled anchor surmounted by silver letters USN, is one of them. Emblematic of the Chief Petty Officer's mess and represent all that our shipmate and brother, Chief Steve Little, has and continues to stand for. Alpha Surgical Company will now present Chief Little with a retirement gift. There's more.
Chief Little, on behalf of the best company at First Medical Battalion, we want to thank you for your leadership, guidance, and mentorship from all over the Alpha Company. Thank you, Chief Little.
Definitely forgot to bring tissue. Apologize. Chief Fernandez will now read Navy Wife.
When the good Lord was creating Navy wives, he was into his 6th day of overtime. An angel appeared and said, "Are you having trouble with this one? What's wrong with the standard model?" The Lord replied, "Have you seen the specifications on this one? She has to be completely independent. Have the quality of both mother and father during deployments. Be a perfect host to 4 or 100 people. Run all day on nothing but coffee and Bloody Marys. Be able to handle the flu and birthdays on her own. Move around the world at a moment's notice. Have a kiss that can heal anything. Have the patience of a saint when waiting for her sailor to come home. Have 6 pairs of hands and a wicked sense of humor, able to withstand the humor of a half-Thai guy from South Dakota who decided to join the Navy and still love him." The angel shook her head slowly and said, "Do you mean the sense of humor from that guy Steve, also known as one of the best Chief Petty Officers that the Navy ever produced? Is that possible?" The Lord answered, "Don't worry, we'll create other Navy wives to help. Besides, it's not his crazy, humorous antics that are the problem. It's her heart. Her heart must swell with pride in her husband, sustain the ache of separations, beat soundly and strongly when too tired to do so, and be large enough to say, 'I understand,' when she really doesn't, and say, 'I love you,' regardless." The Lord said to the angel, "Come to bed. You can finish this tomorrow. It's just too much." "I can't," said the Lord. "I'm so close to making something unique. She is already able to heal herself. When she is sick, can feed Spam pie to 20 unexpected guests, and wave goodbye to her husband from the pier or runway, and fully understand that it's important to our country that he deploys." The angel circled the model of the newest Navy wife, Heather. "It's too soft," she cried. "But tough," replied the Lord. "You can't even imagine what this woman can do or endure." "But can she think?" asked the angel. "Can she think?" said the Lord. "Why, she can convert ridiculous Navy and Marine Corps acronyms into understandable English." Finally, the angel bent over and gently ran her fingers across Heather's cheek. "There's a leak," she pronounced. "I told you that you were trying to put too much into this one." "That's not a leak," said the Lord. "It's a tear." What for? Asked the angel. It's for joy, sadness, pain, disappointment, loneliness, and pride, said the Lord. Wow, you're a genius, exclaimed the angel. The Lord looked somberly at the angel and admitted in reply, Shipmate, I didn't put it there.
Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Navy. To all who shall see these presents, greetings.
Greetings.
Mrs. Heather Little, by the authority vested in me, it is my pleasure to express the grateful appreciation of the United States Navy to you for your unselfish, patriotic, and devoted service during your husband's military career. Your unfailing support and understanding helped me immeasurably to make possible his lasting contribution to the nation. To those who say a single man cannot make a difference, I say wrong. Your husband did. He made our Navy stronger and kept our nation safe, and with his service to the Navy now complete, he will be able to spend more time with you in the future. The United States Navy thanks you, and I thank you. For this 13th day of October, Chief Wilcox, Captain Medical Service Corps, United States Navy, Commanding Officer. Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Navy. To all who shall see these presents, greetings.
Greetings.
To Josephine Soda Santa. By the authority vested in me, it is my pleasure to express the grateful appreciation of the United States Navy to you for enduring the frequent and long separation from your stepfather, Stephen, as he served his country. These months, indeed years, that he spent away from you constitute a clear and noble demonstration of his love for you and his family. You see, he left you in order to ensure that you inherited a safer world, a surer peace. To those who say a single man cannot make a difference, I say wrong. Your stepfather did. He made our Navy stronger and kept our nation safe. With his service to the Navy now complete, he will be able to spend more time with you in the future. The United States Navy thanks both of you and your stepfather for enduring these separations. Even this 13th day of October, Chief Wilcox, Captain, Medical Service Corps, United States Navy. There's more. This Chief Little will now present some flowers to his family. Chief Akins will now read 13 points.
Represents the same principles on which the freedoms of our proud country were originally founded. The portion of the flag denoting honor is the canton that served our country in uniform. At the ceremony of retreat, the flag is lowered, folded in a triangle fold. The red and white stripes are folded into the blue like the light of day, vanishing into the darkness of night, and is kept under watch throughout the night as a tribute to our nation's honored dead. The next morning, it is brought out, and at the ceremony of reveille, signifying the start of the duty day, is run aloft as a symbol of our belief in the resurrection of the body. Did you know, at the military funerals, the 21 gun salute stands for the sum of the numbers in the year 1776? Have you ever noticed how the honor guard pays meticulous attention to correctly folding the American flag 13 times? You probably thought it was to symbolize the original 13 colonies, but we learn something new every day. The first fold of our flag is a symbol of life. The second fold is a symbol of our belief in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the veterans departing our ranks, who gave a portion of their lives for the defense of our country to attain peace throughout the world. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature, for as American citizens trusting in God, it is to Him we turn in times of peace as well as in times of war for his divine guidance. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country, or in the words of Stephen Decatur, our country. In dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it's still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is for where our hearts lie. It is where our heart that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is a tribute to the armed forces. For it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all of our enemies, whether they are found within or without the boundaries of our republic. The eighth fold is a tribute to who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we might see the light of day. The ninth fold is a tribute to womanhood and mothers. For it has been through their faith, their love, loyalty, and devotion that the character of the men and women who made this country great have been molded. The 10th fold is a tribute to the Father, for he, too, has given his sons and his daughters for defense of our country since they were first born. The 11th fold represents the lower portion of the seal of King of David and King Solomon and glorifies the Hebrew's eyes, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12th fold represents the emblem of eternity and glorifies in the Christian's eyes God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The 13th fold, or when the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our nation's motto, in God we trust. It takes on the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the sailors and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones, who were faithfully followed by their comrades and shipmates in the armed forces of the United States, preserving for us the rights, privileges, and freedoms we enjoy today.
Flag detail. Host.
My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest building. I stand watch at America's Hall of Justice. I fly majestically over great institutions of learning. I stand guard with the great military power of the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am arrogant. I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is held a little higher. My colors are a little truer. I bow to no one. I am revered. I am loved. I am feared. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, Sangamon Hill, the trenches of France, Aragon Forest, Antietam, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, the jungles of Guam, Okinawa, Harlem, Korea, Vietnam, and in the heat of the Persian Gulf, and the sailors and Marines cheered me. I was proud. I've been soiled, burned, toiled, and trampled in the streets of countries I helped to set free. It does not hurt me, for I am invincible. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of my own country. And when it is done by those whom I have served in battle, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for all I am strong. I have slipped the surely bonds of earth, and from my vantage point on the moon, I stand watch over them, new frontiers and space. I have been silent witness to all the finest hours. I have flown over the top of the World Trade Center, and on September 11, 2001, I have flown over its rubble to remain and remind the evil in the world that my spirit will not be crushed. My spirit will not be broken. But my finest hour comes when I am torn into strips, to be used as a bandage for my wounded comrades on the field of battle. When I fly half-mast to honor my soldiers, sailors, and Marines, when I lie in trembling arms of the grieving mother at the graveside of her fallen son or daughter, I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave. Dear God, long may I wave.
Chief Little, on behalf of all the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces, including those who have made the supreme sacrifice, we wish to present to you what is regarded as the military member's most honored and cherished possession, the flag of the United States of America. The flag is representative of the great nation which you have so proudly served and honorably defended. It is the true emblem of our unity, our power, and our purpose as a nation. Please accept it, guard it, and let it remind you that many young men and women you have guided and inspired will follow in your footsteps and defend it with equal pride. Flag detail. Post.
Forward, march. Bow, face, take seats. Thank you. I'm not going to use the mic. Probably not going to stand behind the podium either. So, Joe, thank you. I asked Joe to be my sponsor for a reason, because I know that he's meticulous, and I know that he wouldn't spare any detail, and I couldn't have been prouder and more thankful for a retirement ceremony. Captain, thank you again. I've told you before, and I just can't help but say it again. Thank you for trusting me to take care of your sailors and advising them down to the officers. I've come to cherish these sailors, and I couldn't have asked for a better tour to finish on just a service. Daryl, there was we've had some moments where I was really concerned that whether or not I was doing the right thing because of the issues that were coming up, and you reassured me that Steve, it's not you, and you reminded me that sometimes even my best sailor can disappoint me, and keep charging forward and making sure that those sailors are doing the right thing, and I think they've done that, and I appreciate again the lead that you give me in order. Greg, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I was hoping. My other brothers and sisters in the mess, Scott, I'm glad you came. If you guys don't know, Senior Chief Fribble and I, my first duty station, and you know, he was an HN, and then a couple months later he got promoted to HM3. I was still an HN, but we ended up moving in together. Been friends ever since. So pretty much my last 24 years of service, I've truly come to call Scott friend. I'm glad that you're here today. Thank you. I'm going to kind of go off on a tangent, so bear with me. I'm so proud of the sailors here in Pendleton, especially at Alpha Company, because we've had some slip-ups, and there are times that issues have happened, but at no time did I ever felt that I was thrown under the bus, because you've informed me of everything that has happened, and the reason you've done that is because you've trusted me that I wasn't going to go high and to the right, and that just tells me that I was doing the right thing. So thank you for trusting me and making my job easy as a chief in the battalion. I remember when I first joined the Navy back in '93, my company commander, that's what they're called back in the days, not RDCs. My company commander, he was an SM1. Signalman, if you guys don't know, they're Stevie Wiggers, right? So, I also had an SMC, right? And the SM1 and the SMC are staying on both sides of the compartments, and they're semaphoring, telling us how, you know, they're going to mess us up, you know, but we're trying to figure it out what they're saying. But anyways, I asked SM1 if he had any advice for me going out to the fleet. And he said,
God gave you 2 eyes and 1 mouth for a reason. So shut up, observe everything, take notes. Do your job, do it well, try not to make any mistakes, and help other sailors out. And when you do that, maybe then you'll earn the title shipmate. See, back when I joined the Navy, shipmate was a term of endearment. And over the years, I've noticed that it kind of fell away from that. And I'm going to be completely honest and upfront. The reason that is, it's our fault. Our fault as leaders, because there are times when we have to correct a sailor. We may have to go sideways on a sailor. Instead of calling them by their name, we call them shipmate. Hey shipmate, what are you doing? Stop that right now. Problem is that shipmate became a negative connotation, and I don't like that. So my sailors know that I don't like that, and they can tell you when I walk into the company, hey, morning shipmates, and I always do it with a smile. Because whenever I had to go sideways at a sailor, I addressed them by title or their God-given name. Because no matter how much of a verbal lashing I can give them, I'll never tarnish their name. And I just want to leave that as my last bit of advice for prospective leaders coming up through the ranks, and a reminder to my brothers and sisters in the mess that we got to be careful of what we say and how we address things to keep our mess strong, keep our Navy stronger, and hold on to our heritage and tradition, and bring back the term shipmate as a term of endearment, because it is. Thank you for indulging us, and thank you all for coming. I love you.
Chief DeLeon, Chief Pareto, Chief Creme, and Chief Goldberg will now read the watch.
For 24 years, this sailor stood the watch. While some of us were in our bunks at night, this shipmate stood the watch. While some of us were in school learning our trade, this hospital corpsman stood the watch. And yes, before some of us were born into this world, this chief petty officer, FMF warrior, stood the watch.
In those years when the storm clouds of war were seen brewing in the horizon of history, this chief hospital corpsman stood the watch. Many times, would cast his eye ashore, seeing his family standing there, needing his guidance and help, needing a hand to hold during those hard times. But still, husband, father, son, brother, sister, your uncle, cousin, your friend, your chief, stood the watch.
He stood the watch for 24 years. He stood the watch so that we and our families and our fellow countrymen could sleep soundly at night, knowing that this United States Navy sailor, this genuine chief, stood the watch.
He stood the watch to defend the Constitution of the United States of America and obey all orders, foreign and domestic. He stood the watch and proudly served our country's Navy combat team with honor, courage, and commitment. He stood the watch, committed to excellence and the fair treatment of all. Today, we are here to say chief, brother, shipmate, friend. The watch now stands relieved by those you have led, guided, mentored, and trained.
Alpha Company, attention.
Chief, you stand relieved.
And
Salute. We
have the watch.
Ready, two. Take seat.
You on this day experience that which comes to all of us who have served on active duty in our Navy. I say our Navy because your departure from active duty in no way terminates your relationship. By law and tradition, the U.S. Navy retirees are always on the roll, ever ready to lend their service when the need arises. The respect that you have earned as the chief was based on the same attributes that will now carry you into retirement. You should have no regrets. Do not view your retirement as an end of an era, but rather as orders to a new and challenging assignment, to a form of independent duty. Remember well that you have been and will always be an accepted member of the most exclusive fraternity, that of the United States Navy Chief Petty Officer. The active duty chiefs salute you. Your retired chiefs welcome you. I wish you a traditional fair winds and following seas.
And salute. Ready, two. Thank you, Senior Chief Kluger. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the
We
benediction.
thank you for this beautiful day and this beautiful ceremony. I pray your continued blessings on Steve and his family. May your presence be with them as they choose new paths and explore new horizons. I pray you open doors of service and new networks of friends to enjoy the journey ahead of them. Thank you for everyone who came to witness this great event and those who participated today. I pray for traveling mercies for all who travel near and far. And so I end our prayer, thankful for what has been and grateful for what and yet to be. In your loving name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Senior Chief Hart. Now, in keeping with over 200 years of naval tradition, Chief Little will request permission to go ashore from Captain Wilcox for the last time. Bosun, stand by to pipe the side. Shipmate going ashore.
Aye, aye, Chief. Side boys. Attention. Side step. March. Left or right. Face.
All Chief Petty Officers, past and present, man the rails. Bell ringer. Sound 2 bells. Chief, Hospital Corpsman, Stephen Lee Little, United States Navy, retired, departing. Bell ringer. Sound 2 bells. Chief Hospital Corpsman and family, retired, departing. Please stay standing, the plane moves away. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony, and on behalf of Chief Little and his family, thank you very much for attending. Please feel free to come up to the front and take off.
You're right behind us.
No, wait a minute.
Thank you for all your
No, I'm out.